Isn't it somewhat amusing that the more we move ahead in time, the more of the iconic OG franchises are making a modern version to further their legacy? Well, I'm not complaining, but simply observing the trend, where everything from He-Man to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to G.I. Joe, and many others are being brought back through different adaptations. As someone who grew up on the Mario games, the new animated film, The Super Mario Galaxy Movie, has all my attention. And while I look to uncover some less spoken about controversial facts in this video, I don't mean to undermine your excitement in any way. These are just some fun and unexpected bits of trivia that I think the fans should know about before they check out the movie. Because maybe Nintendo would want you to disregard this altogether. Is Mario breaking bricks, or breaking souls? If you've ever played the original Super Mario Bros. For the NES, you know that the players often needed to break the floating bricks around them. This could be for various reasons, such as to take out a Koopa from below, or to search for a hidden block full of coins. But the players had to do this brick-breaking thing nonetheless. Now, what I didn't know for a very long time is that, according to the lore of the game, the bricks broken are actually lives taken. Basically, when Bowser took over the Mushroom Kingdom, he turned many of the Toads who lived there into bricks. It's not clearly revealed if there's a way to turn them back to their original form, but it can still be said with certainty that every time Mario breaks a brick, he actually shatters an innocent Toad into tiny pieces. Later, Nintendo did try to soften the blow by claiming that the Toads are eventually restored, but how can you look past the original text entirely? You have to agree that this whole premise definitely sets a darker tone for a game that our parents didn't really forbid us from playing. Mario, the animal abuser. When I think of Mario, he is definitely not someone I imagine would abuse animals, but there are some things about the gameplay that have caused a few controversies. For instance, when the game was released in 1990, fans wondered if Mario was actually punching Yoshi on the head when he shot his tongue out. There remained a close proximity between Mario's fist and Yoshi's head, and it was all combined with a convincing sound effect that lent further credibility to the debate. Later, the website Super Mario Broth presented the case for the defense and argued that Nintendo's mascot could never be so cruel, and Yoshi was actually being licked. I don't know how that's any better, but the logic was anyway refuted during an interview with designer Takashi Tezuka that revealed a sinister truth. Mario apparently likes hitting lizard-type creatures. Also, the artist Shigefumi Hino admitted, "The setup that I drew was that when Mario punches Yoshi in the head, the character's tongue shoots out in surprise. In fact, the added bop sound also adds to this, and clearly, Mario was being a jerk to Yoshi all along, which might not go down well with the fans." Mario was once a villain. This sounds baffling, doesn't it? I mean, whatever the fans of Mario have seen over the years is that he serves as a protagonist or a hero. However, there is more to it than what meets the eye. You see, it was the success of Donkey Kong that introduced the role of Mario into Nintendo's lineup, and the transition wasn't overnight, as he became the primary star and mascot. There was a time when he was still connected to the Donkey Kong series, instead of being a star on his own. In fact, in Donkey Kong Jr., he took on the role of the villain as he locked Donkey Kong in cages, and the gameplay followed the son of Donkey Kong as he climbed and moved through the levels to free his father from Mario. Donkey Kong Jr. had the villainous version of Mario, which might not be a terrible idea to explore through an innovative narrative because, as you can see, the man is indeed shrouded in controversies. Mario originated as a result of licensing issues. I think this is a piece of information that only the hardened fans know about. The concept behind Donkey Kong and Mario was actually rooted in something completely different. The idea was to use the widely popular Popeye cartoon for a video game, but Nintendo couldn't acquire the licensing rights that were required for Popeye's characters and designs. Thus, an original character concept was required, and what they did was heavily borrow from the concept of Popeye. For instance, Bluto became Donkey Kong, and Olive Oil became Pauline, while Popeye himself was the Jumpman who eventually became the iconic Mario. It's remarkable how Donkey Kong and Mario became a brand on their own, but the true origin is actually hidden in licensing issues that failed to secure Popeye for Nintendo. Mario exists because Nintendo lost Popeye. Taking from my previous point, have you ever wondered why Popeye never featured in the popular movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which included so many popular cartoon characters? Well, the answer is harsh, and it's the truth that the 80s were not too kind to Popeye as they were to some other old school cartoons. Yes, there were new versions of the classic, but it was still falling out of public eye. The funny thing is that even after the cartoon stopped being a hit, Popeye continued to exist in video game form, which the original creators probably never anticipated. I already told you about how Nintendo wanted to make a new Popeye video game, and later, the plan had to be abandoned. This prompted them to create original characters like Mario and Donkey Kong. Maybe it was the popularity of Popeye in Japan that prompted Nintendo to go after the character, and personally for me, what they created instead was indeed a worthy successor. Nintendo's 35-year-old struggle with gender. Well, this comes as a surprise, doesn't it? Who would have imagined that Birdo would struggle with his gender identity? As it turns out, the original Super Mario Bros. 2 manual described Birdo as a man who thinks he is a girl and would rather be called Birdetta. However, due to the confusion surrounding this bizarre revelation, Nintendo distanced itself from the original statement, and they came up with a clearly gender-defined Birdo that appeared as early as the Super Mario Bros. Super Show cartoon. But this did not really clear the air around the confusion for good, because there were official sources that have been contradictory since then. In Mario Tennis and Super Mario Advance, you will see that Birdo has been given a feminine voice, voiced by Jen Taylor, who also served as the voice actor for Princess Peach. Again, later games changed this, while some others still implied that Birdo is a female. If you look at the Japanese website of Mario Kart Double Dash, you will see that they have implied Birdo is a male. Nintendo has shifted its stance quite a few times and called her indeterminate gender, a boyfriend to Yoshi, and a female in most Western releases. I think a majority of fans couldn't care less. He's not actually a Homosapien. Mario has features that will prompt anyone to say that he is human, but of course, if you put him next to a real human being, he does look cartoonish. But what really surprised me was when I found out that he might not be a Homosapien at all. When Super Mario Odyssey put Mario in the middle of a real city with real people, everyone towered over him. Some thought that Mario is simply a very small person, but the reality is that Mario is not the same species as us. The official Nintendo guide confirmed that Mario is a Homo Nintendonus, which is the reason behind his disproportionate head-to-body ratio. If you think he is the only one who confused people about his species, hear this one out. Yoshi is also revealed to be not a dinosaur in the strictest sense of the term, and he is more accurately described as a T-Yoshisaur Munchakoopa. Well, who cares about their species as long as it's a fun game to play? The suit that sparked a real-world protest. This was right after the release of Super Mario 3D Land, when Mario got caught up in a controversy with PETA. They created a website called Mario Kills Tanuki, and they even added a flash game to promote their anti-fur campaign connected to the live skinning of raccoon dogs, or tanukis. The reason behind this agitation was the allegation that Mario was promoting the use of animal furs as clothing, because Mario used the tanuki suit as a power-up, even though it actually originated in Super Mario Bros. 3. In the game Super Tanuki Skin 2D, you have the character of Tanuki, who is a skinless animal whose skin has been taken by Mario, and it chases Mario to get its skin back. The game involves the player dodging obstacles in order to catch up to Mario, who is shown wearing the skin and flying head of a Tanuki. In fact, if you win the game, it reads, "F you, Mario, the skin belongs to an animal." Nintendo came out to contradict this by suggesting that Mario only takes the appearance of certain animals and objects in the games, and it has nothing to do with him actually skinning animals. Nevertheless, the game was widely criticized for such insensitivity, and it continued further when PETA sent a letter to Nintendo in 2025 for the removal of Cow's nose ring in Mario Kart World. Not the most animal-friendly character after all, is he? A relationship status. It's complicated. This one hits a bit too close for comfort in a world where complicated relationships are slowly becoming the new normal. Mario and Peach are not really a picture-perfect couple. They might have kissed numerous times, but there has never been a clear indication that they are anything more than friends. To be fair, the kisses are only pecks on the nose or cheek, and when the subject ever comes up in the games, they both deny any kind of relationship. You will see that in Super Paper Mario, he denies that Peach is his lady friend when asked by Luigi, and again in Super Mario Galaxy, Rosalina refers to them as only being special to each other. I think Nintendo likes the mystery around this because they never released an official answer to this question and kept things purposely ambiguous. So while you might find a lot of weird fan theories around Mario and Peach, the reality is that there is no evidence to suggest that they are anything more than really good friends.
Oh, Mario, my hero.
Pauline was Mario's first love interest, not Peach. Speaking of Mario and his love interest, here is the truth that the fans should know. Pauline, who was initially known as Lady in Japan, was the original love interest of Mario that appeared in the original Donkey Kong before Mario even met Princess Peach. Pauline, as you may know, is not from a royal family and just a normal person, as she is actually Nintendo's first female character. When she first appeared, she was introduced as Mario's girlfriend, and during the time, Mario worked as a carpenter before he became a plumber, and was renamed as Mario in the original Mario Bros. Arcade. Eventually, she was replaced by Princess Peach, but I fully understand why my guy Mario always has to put up with the complicated relationship status, because his heart remained elsewhere. Japan's True Mario 2 is too hard for the Western audience. Do you know about the original and a bit too difficult version of Mario from Japan that refers to Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels? Well, I didn't, and I was too shocked to find out. This was apparently so punishing and hard that it was deemed unsuitable for North American audiences, and this forced Nintendo to release a completely different version that was a lot easier. Apparently, only those who were too good at the original could even try their hands with this one. The levels featured extremely precise jumps and hidden blocks that caused instant death, and even wind-affected platforming that made things so difficult. There were certain pipes that took players backward in the level instead of forward, which was very frustrating, and the enemies were densely placed and more difficult to eliminate. It was released in North America much later in 1993 as a part of Super Mario All-Stars under the title Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. Mario is not a middle-aged man. I had always assumed that Mario was a middle-aged man, at least nearing his 40s, if not past the point. Well, you can't really blame me, can you? The character looked like that, and the mustache, the gut, and especially the earlier depictions suggest a middle-aged fellow. But there was even a version that showed him bald under his hat. But it turns out that they were all wrong, because according to Shigeru Miyamoto himself, Mario is only around 24 years old and has always been that way. Apparently, his young age is one of the things the creator was sure about when it comes to his backstory. I have to admit that this fellow has been 24 for over 3 decades now, and in today's time you actually see a lot of young people growing a mustache like that. Let's just say he's a hipster who was ahead of his time, but tell me honestly, did you really know about this or just assume that Mario was someone who would crack dad jokes, because that's exactly how he looks like? He took his revenge on Donkey Kong too far. I think I've said this enough times in the video that Mario's first appearance was in the arcade game Donkey Kong. But here's something shocking that he did after the events of the game. In the direct sequel Donkey Kong Jr., the son of Donkey Kong is tasked with rescuing his father from Mario, who kidnaps him and locks him in a cage. Also, the promotional art for the game suggested that Mario whipped the imprisoned Kong, and you have to admit that it was a bit too much even for revenge. I know this is the last time that Mario appeared as an antagonist, but it is surely an appearance to remember because of his dark side on show. Any franchise that has such an extensive run is bound to run into a few controversies every now and then. Also, most of these are more fun than disturbing, and as I said earlier, I don't mean to deter your excitement about the Super Mario Galaxy movie in any way. I just hope that these only add to your experience, and you are one of those informed fans who can win the arguments in the comments section. Let me know what you think of these controversies around Mario, and also share your thoughts on the upcoming animated film. If you appreciate the efforts to bring you this content, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more such videos.